What's up, buds? Today, I want to go over some specifics of how we made this offer. I want to show you guys that you can do this and hopefully inspire some people to take some action because I understand how you can paralyze yourself overthinking things like this. So, first, our offer, what we purchased is a duplex. There's a first floor unit that's one bedroom. It has a newly updated kitchen area. The second floor unit, which will ultimately be the unit that we live in, it has two beds. It needs some updating, but what I really want to emphasize is that this property stood out to me because I had done so much research and analysis ahead of time. As soon as I saw the listing pop up and I saw the price, alarms were going off in my head before I even put the numbers into my spreadsheet because I had done so much research ahead of time and I was staying prepared at all times to purchase when necessary. So the listing price was 210,000. I knew right away, we were going to have to come in above that, especially since it's an FHA offer. There's still so many cash buyers out there. There's conventional buyers out there. So we were going to have to make a strong offer. So what we did is we offered 230 with an addendum to cover $5,000 if the appraisal comes in low. So say the appraisal comes in at $225,000, we would then have to make up that extra 5,000 out of our own pocket. Also on the offer, we did 5% down instead of what is the minimum of 3.5% down for FHA, and we included a $7,000 hard money deposit. Something else that we did that's a little outside just the financing of it. We sent a note to the seller thanking her for her time. When we went and visited, while we were there, we had a nice conversation. Laughed a little bit, got to know each other. And in the note, just kind of mentioned the conversation and how great it was to talk to her. We appreciated, made a joke, back to the conversation that we had. Just something personal for her to remember us by. Now on to the closing costs, the payments, and then what the expected rent is. Kind of like just the numbers of it all, really. So all in, our cash to close estimate was about $25,000. Now, if you're buying in the Philadelphia area and you're trying to do minimum down, but you need to know, what's your down payment, what's your closing costs, what are all these extra fees, what is going to be my absolute number? A general rule of thumb that is, pretty good to, use for your estimates is about 10% of the total accepted price. So that means, we offered 230. Our estimate was about 25,000. So that's about 10%. It's a little higher because we did, a higher down payment. Now, keep in mind, this is just an estimate. As you go from estimate on your offer, through underwriting and all these other phases, that number is going to, kind of bounce back and forth a little bit. But just for a rule of thumb for you guys to quickly do some numbers, 10% all in is a decent guideline. Now, our monthly payment for our mortgage is going to be around $1,750. That is going to include the principal, the interest, insurance payments, taxes, and mortgage insurance. So the first floor we're going to rent out for about $950 per month. We are going to continue paying what our current monthly rent is, which is about $1,300. So that brings the total monthly, revenue generated of this property to $2,250. So that's a spread of $500 between what our mortgage payment is and what the monthly revenue generated will be. Next, quickly, I kind of want to go over this because it's FHA. One thing you'll need to keep in mind is appraisals and sellers getting spooked by an FHA offer because an FHA appraisal will have to happen. And why they do that is because it's a little stricter. There's a little more things that go into it where the seller will have to go in and make the repairs before you can close on the house. But some keywords to keep in mind that realtors, you sellers would love to hear are as is and at value. As is meaning the property doesn't need any updates. At value means that it's coming in at the number that you offered. Something that you'll see on an appraisal if it needs repairs is subject to. Now, some common repairs that would be needed that are pretty much quick fixes are chip paints, installing handrails, little things like that really shouldn't throw off a deal. They can get done very quickly. But there could be an instance where an FHA, requires something a little more that could then put it in jeopardy. So our specific property, we do already have some planned updates that we want to do. We want to rip up the carpet and we want to install some flooring. And then, after we do that, we would then give it some fresh paint or, whatever kind of paint Megan thinks is going to be best. These are kind of quick fixes that are mostly geared towards rental appeal to it. They probably won't increase the property value very much, but it will definitely keep it as a strong rental prospect. We're also kind of exploring options of adding a dishwasher into the kitchen and then possibly adding a washer dryer unit if we can. That might be a little more difficult, but we have some times, and as we go through this journey, I'll keep you guys updated on if we do that and then how we do that. And lastly, I kind of want to talk about kind of our next steps. What are our next goals? Off the bat, we want to save up to about $30,000. This is going to be kind of a moving target, kind of depending on, if something comes up that we see that we like, or if we have something in mind that we're shooting for, maybe we need to save a little more. But that's the basis. We have to build another base. We have to, have some reserves that we can make a move if needed. Also, what I'll be doing in the meantime is I'm going to continue just researching multi-units in the area, putting in different parameters. I would really like to get a triplex. I think that would help us a lot. Also, I would, maybe a mixed-use property, and maybe in another video I'll talk about more about how an FHA loan goes into a triplex and goes into a mixed-use property because they each have a little more different than just this straight duplex. Another thing I'd like to do is a fix and flip, but that might be a little much to take on right now. So I'm just gonna, keep researching it so that I know what to do if I see an opportunity. And lastly, I really just want to say it again, to just stay prepared. Go get your pre-approval, go through the numbers, do your research, and hopefully this will inspire some people to take some action. All right, guys, have a good week.